The soldier knelt beside his dog, Duke, their bond unspoken but understood. "I'll be back, buddy," Lucas whispered, ruffling Duke's ears one last time before boarding the plane to war. But Duke's eyes were filled with something darker, a secret too heavy for a dog to carry alone. As the days turned to weeks, the house grew quieter, but Duke's unease never faded. Beneath the floorboards lay the truth, one that could shatter everything Lucas had ever believed. The man he called father wasn't the hero he thought, and now Lucas was coming home, only to face a truth that could destroy him forever. The morning was crisp, the sky a muted shade of gray as Sergeant Lucas Moore stood in the driveway of his home, his duffel bag slung over one shoulder. His boots crunched against the gravel as he took one last look at the house he had grown up in, the house he had shared with his family, and the house that now seemed so distant. The war had come for him, as it came for so many others, and the call to serve could not be ignored. Beside him, his loyal companion Duke, a large brown and white German shepherd, sat with his tail low, his ears perked up as if sensing the change in the air. They had shared countless adventures, Duke never leaving his side. Whether it was hunting in the woods or lying together under the stars, Duke had been his constant. But now, as Lucas prepared to board a plane that would take him halfway across, the world, the bond between them seemed to fracture, even if just a little. "Hey, buddy!" Lucas knelt down, ruffling Duke's ears. "You take care of Mom, okay? Watch over her while I'm gone." Duke's eyes, filled with loyalty and sadness, looked up at him, his body still. It was as if the dog understood the gravity of the moment. Lucas gave a final pat before standing up and adjusting his uniform. He waved to his mother standing in the doorway, her face pale and drawn. She held back tears, trying to stay strong for him, but it was clear she didn't want him to leave. Her arms were crossed over her chest, a subtle sign of the aching pain she was trying to conceal. Lucas turned and walked toward the car, waiting to take him to the airport. Duke watched from the driveway, his tail tucked between his legs. The sound of the car engine fading into the distance was a painful reminder to Duke that his best friend, his protector, was now 1,000 miles away. But Duke had a secret that for now he chose to keep hidden. Back at the house, Duke paced back and forth, his heart heavy with a sense of unease. He had always been able to sense things, far beyond what a normal dog might, and now he felt something was wrong. He could feel a strange pressure in the air, a shift that was so subtle yet so overpowering. Something wasn't right. It had been days since Lucas left, and the house felt cold, emptier without the sound of his laughter and the rhythm of his boots. But Duke's unease wasn't about loneliness. It was about something far more dangerous. One night, as he lay curled up near the door, Duke heard a noise. It was faint, a soft scratching sound at the floor, as if something was trying to get inside. His ears perked up. He sniffed the air, his instincts going into overdrive. Then he heard it again, a gentle scraping, almost like a whisper. The sound seemed to be coming from under the floorboards. Duke stood up and approached the spot where the noise was originating. His sharp eyes scanned the area as his nose twitched. He knew what was hidden beneath the floor. He had discovered it months ago, when Lucas had first left for basic training. That's when he found the box. The box was small and unassuming, buried in the corner of the basement. But inside it, Duke knew, was the truth. Something Lucas never knew, something that was far darker than any war or battle. Without hesitation, Duke began to paw at the floorboards, digging into the soft wood. The old planks creaked as they gave way, and there, beneath them, was the box. The dog's heart raced as he lifted the lid, revealing what Lucas had unknowingly left behind. It was a single photograph, torn and faded with age, but the face in the picture was unmistakable. Lucas's father, the man who had gone missing in action years ago. The man in the photo was holding a young Lucas in his arms, smiling, alive. But the truth, the part that Duke had uncovered, was that Lucas's father was not just a soldier. He was a traitor. The betrayal ran deep, and Duke knew the consequences. He had to keep this secret from Lucas, from his family, at all costs. If Lucas knew the truth, it would destroy him. Days turned into weeks, and Lucas's absence felt like a permanent shadow hanging over the house. Duke's secret gnawed at him, the weight of the truth pressing on his chest. He couldn't understand it. Why was Lucas's father a traitor? Why had he betrayed his own country? And why had his actions been hidden from Lucas? But no matter how much Duke wanted to understand, there was no time for questions. Lucas was out there, fighting a war, and Duke knew that there was no guarantee that his best friend would ever come back. The dog had seen too many soldiers return in caskets, their faces grim, their eyes hollow. He had felt the pain of loss in ways that no creature should. But this was different. This was a secret that could break Lucas's heart. One evening, Duke heard a soft knock on the door. It was late, and the wind howled through the trees outside. The door opened, revealing Lucas's mother, standing in the doorway with her eyes red from crying. She had been staring at the news for days, waiting for any word from her son. "He's alive," she whispered, her voice shaky. "Lucas is alive. They've contacted us. He's in a hospital overseas." Duke's heart leaped in his chest. There was hope, but it was fleeting. The next morning, a letter arrived, sealed with the official military stamp. Duke watched as Lucas's mother opened it, her hands trembling. She read the letter in silence, and then her face went pale. Tears started to fall, slowly at first, but then more freely. The letter was from Lucas himself. He had been injured, in the line of duty. But it wasn't the injury that frightened her. It was what he said at the end of the letter. "I need to tell you something. I've learned something about my father, and it's something I can't ever forgive." Lucas had found the truth. And now the family was on the brink of losing everything they thought they knew. Months passed, and the house stood silent. Duke waited patiently, his fur now duller, his body thinner from the stress of keeping secrets. Then one day, a knock at the door echoed through the empty house. Duke's ears perked up, his tail giving an excited thump. He bounded to the door, pawing at it, his whole body vibrating with anticipation. When the door opened, Lucas stood there, in uniform, his face scarred, but his eyes alive. Duke's tail wagged furiously, and he leaped into Lucas's arms, his body shaking with relief. Lucas embraced the dog, his voice thick with emotion. "I'm home, Duke! I'm home!" But the joy was short-lived. Lucas's mother stood behind them, her eyes filled with fear. "Lucas, I know you found out," she said softly, her voice barely a whisper. Lucas's face hardened as he nodded, stepping back from the embrace of the dog. "I know what my father did. I know he wasn't the hero they said he was. He was a traitor. He left us. He betrayed everything we believed in. Duke's heart ached as Lucas spoke. The dog knew the truth. It wasn't just about betrayal. It was about a man lost in the darkness, a man who had once been a father, a husband, a soldier, but who had turned his back on everything. And now, Lucas was left with the weight of that knowledge. But what Duke couldn't bear was the thought that one day Lucas might look at him and see the betrayal in his eyes, too. It was late one night when Lucas sat in the living room, staring at the photograph of his father. His mother had gone to bed, and Duke was lying quietly at his feet, his eyes downcast. "Why did you keep this from me, Duke?" Lucas whispered, his voice broken. "Why didn't you tell me?" Duke's tail flicked, his eyes brimming with the sorrow he couldn't express in words. He wanted to protect Lucas, wanted to shield him from the pain of knowing the truth. But now, the truth had come crashing down, and the weight of it all felt unbearable. Lucas put the photograph down, his hands trembling. He looked at Duke, his loyal companion, his protector. "You've always been here for me, haven't you?" Duke, his heart heavy, walked over and rested his head on Lucas's knee. The soldier ran his hand through the dog's fur, feeling the warmth, the quiet comfort that only Duke could provide. It wasn't the answer he had hoped for, but it was the truth he needed. And in that moment, Lucas understood. No matter the betrayal of the past, Duke had always been there for him. "Thank you, Duke," Lucas whispered, his voice raw with emotion. "You're my family, and that's all that matters." And so, as the night grew colder, the two of them sat together. In silence, the soldier left for war, but his dog was hiding a big secret. Thanks for watching.